Payson, Arizona is a small town in the mountains of northern Arizona called the Rim Country. Many people don't realize that the best outdoor recreation in Arizona is centralized around Payson. Sitting just below the Mogollon Rim, Payson is an adventure hub for Arizona's most scenic hiking trails, world-class mountain biking on the Highline National Recreation Trail, spring-fed crystal clear creeks and old-growth forest, and the state's best fly fishing for Arizona native fish, the Gila trout. And to start my adventure just 15 miles north of Payson, I'm at the Washington Park Trailhead, hiking to the abandoned railroad tunnel. The hike to the abandoned railroad tunnel is a pretty short hike. It's only like 2 miles, I think, one way. So about a 4-mile round trip. What makes this place so special to me and why I love it so much, there's a few reasons. One, you get up into the mixed conifer forest, so you have very mature ponderosa pines, some Douglas fir, white fir. But two, why I love this area so much is that there's a spring-fed creek, and this is the Upper East Verde River. And there's water flowing all year round, really good swimming holes, and really good trout fishing for native trout to Arizona, the Gila trout. And just right off the trail, there's the creek right here with decent little holes in it. It's not bad. Another thing that's really cool about the Washington Park area is that there's enough moisture up here that there's like this moss. It almost looks like Spanish moss, but it's not. But this moss grows on the tree branches and just dangles off, which I feel like you don't see much in Arizona. But I guess there's just that much more moisture in this little valley here, or crevice of the rim. And I know it's also a really good sign of good air quality when this type of moss grows. There's a natural spring right here. I mean, I guess not right here, but like the stream of the spring is right here. This is so cool. Wow. I mean, it's got to start just right up here, I would assume. The underside of a tree. It's not something you see every day. Wow. I like your roots. You got strong roots right there. Well, you did. And you fell. Isn't it crazy how trees just like grow around boulders like that? Like, man, and that just ripped out of the ground. How wild. So this is something I've actually never seen before with trees, or at least like a Douglas fir, are the new blooms. They're cute. Look how cute those little guys are. I've never seen new blooms of the pine needles on these at all. I do know that, I don't know, after those bloom, so probably another few weeks or a month, you can take the bright green new blooms of those needles and pluck them and actually steep those to make a tea. And there's a lot of medicinal benefits from that. I've never done it, but I do want to try it once I start seeing those new blooms come out. And then it looks like this trail keeps following this little spring right here. In the early 1920s, there was a gentleman with the last name of Piper that established one of the first fish hatcheries up here on the rim, and this was called the Piper Spring fish hatchery. Right here is where one of the springs comes out of, and you can see this was one of the old holding ponds for the hatchery. You can see the old levee wall right there. All this is spring water. And it just keeps coming out of the face of the rim right here. This is so cool. Never knew there was an old fish hatchery up here. This looks like it could have been another, I guess, holding pond, stock pond for them. You can obviously tell some of this isn't natural. The springs are natural, but like, for example, you can tell this right here was an old road at one point. And then obviously you have the rock work right there, whatever that piece of metal is. There's definitely a lot of history out here, a lot of history. The Piper hatchery supplied trout to the local government, and they settled in this area on the hatchery here until about the 1930s when the Great Depression came in, and then the government pretty much came in and said, y'all gotta move on. So unfortunately, that sounds like about the time when this was taken over by the federal government as federal reserve land, which is now the Forest Service or National Forest land. But wow, just some of the rich history that's among the forest is so beautiful. We have about one more mile, and then it looks like, well, that road I was pointing out earlier by the Piper Spring Hatchery, we're actually on that road now. There it is. There's the trail I just came off of. And it looks like we hike this until we get to the spur that takes you to the railroad tunnel. And there's a cow up here. Look at this fella. Well, hello there. You doing good? You're pretty. Alright. Oh, well, we can just go hike together. Okay. You have a good one. This is a great day, y'all. This place is just flowing with water. It's the spring of life. I say that jokingly, but actually, literally, there's so much life right here. You have the running water, you have so much greenery because of the water, and then all the insects and butterflies and animals. Man, this place is just absolutely amazing. Looks like another structure, a little bit up off the trail. Interesting. That is the source of one of the springs that feeds the East Verde River. So if you're out here hiking or backpacking or bike packing, whatever it may be, you'll have a consistent source of water. That's for sure. Don't let the road fool you. Just because it's a road doesn't mean it's any easier. This is actually, whew, I'm out of breath. This is actually where it starts to get really steep going up the face of the rim. And the creek down there, the East Verde, it's down to a little trickle now, which means we're climbing a lot. We're getting there. We're not far. Guys, there's an aspen tree. There's an aspen tree. I love aspens. And I never knew there were aspens like on the face of the rim. I've seen them on top of the rim in wet places, but never like on the face of it right here. Wow. Golly, dude. This is awesome. Maybe there's more up here. So once you make that spur off the Arizona Trail to the railroad tunnel trail, the trail becomes very steep, rocky, and you really have to pay attention to where the trail is because it's not as defined as what the Arizona Trail is. So this is what it looks like. That's the trail in front of me. And then we're going up into that little cove right there. There's still a trail, but it definitely gets a lot smaller of a single track. This is it, we made it. This is just too freaking cool. Wow, man. I can't really stand up straight. But man, the rock work is really impressive on this. Like, it's really nice. Look how flat and flush all these are. And you got a little window right here. That's the end of it. It doesn't go past that. This is so cool. So neat. Just a tunnel in the side of the Mogollon Rim in the middle of the forest. The construction of this tunnel was first brought up in the 1880s by a mining engineer named James Eddy. He had a money-making idea to build a railroad from Globe, Arizona, all the way to Flagstaff in order to transport the lumber from Flagstaff down to Globe, and then the mining town of Globe, all the minerals and ore up to Flagstaff. And this would save a lot of money and time being able to be transported by train versus buggy and wagon drawn by horses. And the name of this railroad would be the Arizona Mineral Belt Railroad. There were two obstacles that James had to overcome. One was the funding, and two was the dramatic topography of the Mogollon Rim. Once he secured enough funding, he began construction of the railroad and this tunnel. This was supposed to be a 3,100-foot tunnel that goes through the Mogollon Rim onto the top of it on its way to Flagstaff. He only got about 100 feet into it and had to abandon the project due to lack of funding. The funds ran out very quickly, and the project was seized for several years, then picked back up, but nothing else was touched on the tunnel, and the railroad tracks were never laid to this tunnel. And then the project was abandoned altogether and just never picked back up because the topography of this area was so rugged and so rough that nothing could be built in between here and Flagstaff. I mean, this thing is really cool. I've never seen a railroad tunnel in my life. I've driven through some tunnels, but I've never seen a railroad tunnel. or even the start of a railroad tunnel in the middle of the forest like this. This is crazy. And just to think, the trail that we hiked had beautiful springs and fish and so much life on it. And then there's a tunnel, a railroad. Wild to think that a railroad would be going straight through here. So weird. Imagine if this project was completed. How would life be different around here, especially in Payson and just the whole area? Like, would it be different? Stuff like that gets me wondering and thinking about how life in the town of Payson and this area and everything would be different around here. I get interested in all that stuff. I like it. I like history. If you come to the Washington Park area, you have to do this hike. This is a no-brainer. You have to do it no matter what. And this pine cone. This is a really cool pine cone. Look how big it is. I mean, look. It's as big as my face. That's a cool cone. That was such a beautiful hike back. The sun just going below the rim. And I found camp tonight. And after a long day of hiking like this and filming, I have to charge my camera gear one way or another. So I use this UD Power 600 power station. This is a very simple power bank to use. You have your power button there, and then it powers on. It shows what's charging, how many hours you have, the percent of battery. If you're using DC or AC, I'm currently using both to charge my phone, GoPro batteries, and then this is for my drone. And then your input, that'll show how many watts are going into the power bank as you're charging it. This has an eco mode, so you can flip that, and that'll increase how many hours you have on this power bank while you're charging. So like that right there, the hours has already increased. This has 2 AC outlets, 2 USB outlets, 2 USB-C outlets, a 12-volt outlet right here, and then this is where you charge, and your inputs will go right here for AC, solar, or DC. The UD Power 600 power station has a 600 watt output, a 120 watt charging input, and a 595 watt hour capacity. This is a Life PO4 battery inside the power station. With a max AC output of 1200 watts, this power bank is suitable for running household appliances such as TVs, microwaves, kitchen appliances, computers. This is my go-to power bank when I just need anything to plug in quick and easy to charge. I like it because it's mobile, it's lightweight, and it's very reliable. I know that this will hold a charge for quite a while, especially when I'm out on the road and I'm not going to be in town close to power or anything at all. I can rely on this power bank. And I said it's light. This is only about a 12-pound power bank. And what's really nice with this is that this has an ultra-quiet heat dissipation system on it. So when I have everything plugged in and I have it really working, this does not have a fan that kicks on. It's a really quiet product, and that is very nice, especially in a truck camper where the space is small and you're out in the nature where it's peace and quiet. So you don't want your power bank running high speed, full blast all the time. Not only is this power bank useful for charging, but at night, say your camper runs out of battery or you're tent camping and you need some extra light, this has a very bright light just for that. So right here, if you press that, you have your lights. Keep pressing it, it gets brighter and brighter, then you press it, I think 3 times, and then it goes up. I personally think the UD Power 600 power station, how it sits right now, there's no design flaws with it. I'm very happy with it. The biggest thing is the size and the power it has. And it checks off that box right there for me. I would highly recommend this product to anyone looking for an affordable 600 watt power station. And you can get yours by using the link in the description below. Well, I am now hungry, and lately I've had a hankering for a meatball sub. I had one at a restaurant not too long ago, and I was like, it's good, but I can make some better. So that's what I'll be cooking for dinner tonight. And I'm so excited because I'm hungry and it sounds so good. So let's get to cooking. First, I'm going to throw in my hamburger meat and then a whole bunch of seasonings. So I have onion powder, garlic powder, rosemary, oregano, thyme, and of course salt and pepper. And so the meatballs hold their shape. I'm putting an egg. And then I'm adding a little bit of water so that it keeps everything moist. Then I'm just going to mix all this together. And then I form my meatballs. After forming the meatballs, I'm going to place them into the oven and let them bake at roughly 20 minutes at about 400 degrees. While the meatballs are cooking, I'm going to prepare the sauce. And that way, once the meatballs are done, we can just assemble the subs, place them in the oven, let the cheese melt, and we're done. For the sauce, I'm going to add some olive oil to a pan and add the garlic. Once the garlic is fragrant, I'm going to add the fresh basil. Now I'm adding the tomato sauce. And the rest of the seasonings, which are salt, pepper, red pepper flakes, and thyme. The meatballs are done. I placed them in the sauce here so they can kind of marinate in the sauce a little bit. But now we can assemble. So I'm going to carefully get my meatballs, place them in there. And of course, I'm adding lots of sauce. Now I'm going to add the provolone. I'm just going to kind of tear the slices that I have up and place them on top here. About 1 slice per sub. And then we're going to top it off with some Parmesan. Now we're going to pop the subs into the oven and just pretty much toast them, get them hot, melt the cheese, and then we're done. Dinner's ready. And our meatball subs are done. Let's dig in. That's delicious. This right here, this makes me happy. This is gonna hit the spot. That's so delicious. I will see y'all in the morning. Today, I am riding the Highline. My buddy Trevor has met me out here to ride with me, and we'll show you some of the beautiful parts of the Highline. And we're still at the Washington Park Trailhead, and we'll be riding from the trailhead going west towards Geronimo Trailhead and Pine. The Highline Trail is a national recreation trail with a rich history dating back to the late 1800s, originally built as trade routes and transportation routes to get from homestead to different communities and to get to school in Pine, Arizona. The Highline Trail has gone through a few restoration projects throughout the 1900s, and in 1978 it was established as a national recreation trail. Here in recent years, maybe the last 5 to 6 years, the Highline has undergone a major restoration initiative, and actually within the last week is officially done. The entire Highline Trail has been renovated, restored, major reroutes have taken place on it. A machine has been taken through the entire trail with major reroutes constructed and to create the most sustainable and accessible user-friendly trail. This trail is accessible by hike, bike, or horseback only. There is no motor vehicle access to the Highline Trail. Now the Highline Trail totals in about 63-ish miles, and this project was only made possible by partners such as the Forest Service, National Forest Foundation, Wild Arizona, Friends of the Tonto National Forest, the Arizona Trail Association, and the Pine Strawberry Fuel Reduction. So enough of the history talk, let's go ride some bikes on this amazing, beautiful piece of trail right here from Washington Park. Dude, great ride.
Great ride.
Heck yeah.
Beautiful section of trail.
No joke.
Yeah.
Little creeks and springs coming across.
Slabs.
Oh yeah.
Big pines.
Yeah, red rock slabs, big pine trees.
Beautiful.
Everything in between.
Beautiful.
But now, we're gonna go fly fish the East Verde here in Washington Park for a native trout to Arizona, the Gila trout. This is one of the most rare trout species in North America. And they're right here, just north of Payson at Washington Park, and we're gonna fish for them. So as there are native Gila trout in the upper East Verde here, this is a catch and release only single barbless fly. This is a big restoration project for the Gila trout, and they're trying to get them to where they naturally reproduce in this creek. That right there is a native Gila. That's awesome. That's so cool. So beautiful. Colorful little thing.
A little rainbow.
Oh, the rainbow. Wow. Cool colors. Yeah. Oh, that's beautiful. That's good, right? Dude, good job.
Yeah.
Heck yeah.
There's a little guy in there too. I saw him at first. I didn't see him. He was tucked under that rock.
Okay.
Yeah.
I know there's a really good hole just right up here.
Right around the corner.
Yeah.
Perfect. Let's get it.
Cool. Let's do it.
Yeah.
I've not had any other luck. I had one really good bite and I missed setting the hook. Oh, it was a good one. I saw it too. And then I fell into the creek. So my whole right side is soaking wet now. It felt really good, honestly. That's that. I have not caught anything yet. But there's still so much creek to cover. So let's see if we can actually catch something else around here. There are fish in here. Okay, so yesterday when I was hiking up to the railroad tunnel, I was just fascinated and telling all about the massive trees here. Well, here is a massive tree. This thing is huge. Look at that. It's an old Douglas fir, an old Dougie. She's holding on strong. Man, it's huge. Golly. I mean, look at this tree right next to it. Look how tiny that is. And look how massive that is. I pretty much just took my rod and reel on a very beautiful hike up and down a creek for the last 5 hours. Because I did not catch anything but a lot of trees. It's part of fly fishing though, especially small creeks like this and wild trout. It was a good start though. That little Gila and Trevor's beautiful wild rainbow, that was really cool. But let me tell you, the Washington Park area, my goodness. It's hands down my favorite area around Payson, and I mean, guys, you can't really get much better than this. I mean, this is such a beautiful area. I mean, the creek, the springs, the fishing here, and you have the Highline Recreation Trail to mountain bike, hike, or horseback. You can backpack it, the Arizona Trail, and then the hike to the railroad tunnel. That's all right here. That's here, just 15 miles north of Payson. I've had an amazing time out here, and I hope you all have enjoyed it, and remember to keep it wild.